Hello and welcome to our third VEX interface tutorial. Today we'll show you simple switches. There are generally a couple of pretty common ones. This one, called a bumper switch. It allows you to tell whether or not something has come into contact with it. You press on the switch and it sends a signal to the VEX controller that something's hit it. And that allows you to do some autonomous or chained actions. The other kind of very common switch, it's similar idea, but it's a bit of a different design. Pretty much the same idea. They both take a signal, whether or not the switch has been pressed, and sends that to the VEX controller. And that allows you to do something with that information. Now in the supplemental VEX kits, there are also some light sensors, ultrasound sensors, which are much more complex, and there are also many different types of non-simple switches. There are also potentiometers, which aren't digital switches, but analog, more precise sensors. And this allows you to have a much more refined control over things like rotational speed of motors and a bunch of other stuff. So, a sensor. How do you connect this to the VEX controller? So here, we'll have to use one of the digital analog input-outputs. So here, for programming, which we'll do in the second part of the tutorial, I'll show you how that works. It doesn't matter which one you connect it to. You'll be able to use any of them in the program. Here you have to make sure that the black wire, you can see, goes toward the outside of the device. So I'll connect this to number 10 and here. Now in my program I'll be able to read the state of this switch in port number 11. So here I'm in EZC and I'm going to show you how to integrate a switch into a program. So normally, switches are used either for starting a new action or for terminating an action that's already running. So those are two possibilities of simple switches. Either bumper switch or the limit switch. So the programming for both are identical. I'm just going to use a bumper switch as an example, but use the same procedure for both. So here I already have a program I've written a part of, and what this does is cause motor 1 to start running and run without stopping. What we're going to do here is stop motor 1 when a limit switch has been triggered. So for this I go into inputs, I take a limit switch, and I drag it down here in the program. So here in this window that opens, I look for whichever input I assigned it to. I've already assigned available ports, so let's choose number 10. That's the one I connected the limit switch to. Retrieve to. So this is the value that you read from the switch, and you're going to store it in a variable. I'm going to store it in this variable called switch1, which I've already defined. And we click OK. So now the state of the switch is available in variable switch1, whether the switch is triggered or not triggered. Now I have to do something with this information, so I drag if. So if switch1 is equal to, so that's two equal signs. If it's equal to 1, here 1 means that the switch is closed, the switch is being pressed. So if the state of switch 1 is equal to 1, so the switch is closed, something will happen. What am I going to do? So I take output, and I'll take a motor module. I have to tell it what to do, and I'm going to tell it to stop. Motor number 1, which I've already set to start turning, I'm going to make it stop. Okay. So now the motor will be turning, and when I click the limit switch, the motor will stop. That's it.